cannot confirm that there's one person dead. What we know at this hour, the police have publicly said only that there is a large operation underway at the Olympia Einkaufszentrum, that's a shopping mall in the Musach neighborhood, that's the northwestern part of Munich. We're getting reports that there was a shooting situation. The local media are reporting at least one dead, and they're saying that a police source has confirmed that. But of course, that wasn't done publicly, so I can't confirm that for you. I haven't been able to get a hold of anyone from the police. Obviously, this operation is still ongoing. A large part of the area is blocked off. The subway traffic has been impacted by this operation, but there's still very much we don't know. We don't know how many, if any, are dead. We don't know who the shooter is. Or shooters. There could be multiple people. It's very much a developing story at this hour.
Yeah, and just to be clear for our viewers and fully transparent, it's one source within the police that is saying that one person was killed and that 10 were injured. So, of course, we're waiting to find out whether there's more, whether there's official communication, confirmation, one way or another from the German police force. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about Munich for people who are not familiar about that town. Is there any particular reason in this context of ongoing terror attacks here in France, in Germany earlier this week? Is there any particular reason why Munich and that particular place would be targeted?
I really don't feel comfortable speculating on whether or not this is a terror attack. We just don't have any information right now. It could be, a domestic dispute. It could be a mentally disturbed person. We just don't know. Jumping to conclusions isn't going to make anyone any wiser. We're just unfortunately going to have to wait and see. Yeah. What I can tell you is this is the northwest part of Munich. And on a Friday evening, this is an area that probably would be quite full of people. It's about 7 p.m. We think this happened about 6:30 here in Germany, a time when many people would be getting off work, looking to do something relaxing, entertaining, perhaps go to a mall. So it is perhaps a time when we can assume the mall would be fuller and have a lot of people looking for a relaxing evening. And unfortunately, based on the information we have, it appears that it was not a relaxing evening at all. The police operation is still ongoing there. We don't know the whereabouts of the shooter. We don't know whether he or she or they have been apprehended. It's very, very fluid, the situation. I hope that we'll see a police press conference soon. But until then, that's the information we're going off of.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you. You're absolutely right to remind our viewers at this stage we do not know what has happened precisely. In fact, far from precisely, we don't even really know any kind of detail about what's been going on. And you're absolutely right to point out it may not be a terror attack at all. The reason I mention that is because it's front and center on everyone's minds right now, given that there have been multiple terror attacks, both in France and one recently in Germany. In fact, I'd like you now to just speak to that context, if you will, because the Islamic State group did claim its first attack in the country earlier this week.
Absolutely. Up until very recently, Germany had been spared the fate that France had seen of multiple large-scale terror attacks that changed very dramatically. A young man said to be 17 years old attacked a family in a regional train in Würzburg with an axe. It was a very, very shocking scene. That the pictures were just, horrible. And we hadn't up until then seen anything like that in Germany. And this young man was said to be from Afghanistan. There's some unclarity whether or not perhaps he was from Pakistan. It's very difficult. We know he traveled to Germany as an unaccompanied minor, that he was living with a foster family. And that attack, even though 4 people were seriously injured in that attack, it's really brought this issue of terror very close to people in Germany. As you mentioned, that was an attack that was claimed by Islamic State, and police believe that this young man self-radicalized while here in Germany. Again, we do not know if there's any connection between that and this, but the issue of terror and of security in public spaces is becoming ever more present in Germans' minds lately.
Sarah, as you speak, we're looking at the live pictures outside the Munich shopping center where shots were fired a short while ago, and we're seeing quite a large number of what appear to be emergency vehicles outside the mall, and that, if anything, gives us an indication of what authorities are at least preparing for. So potentially they are preparing to deal with a large number of casualties. That's at least the inference we can make. We do not have that knowledge, but it is the inference we can make from just looking at those pictures right now. And I have to tell our viewers, of course, that German media are carrying information that there have been multiple deaths during that shooting. The police not confirming that information at the moment, and of course we need to be very careful about what happened until anything is confirmed. Sarah Harman, thank you very much. I want to ask you one last thing, perhaps about the context in which this is happening in Germany. Did Germans, until that attack that was claimed by the Islamic State group earlier this week, did Germans have a sense that perhaps Germany could also be threatened and Germany could also come under attack, or did they feel that they were immune from what was happening in other countries such as France?
Oh, no, I don't think anyone feels immune. If anything, people feel lucky and to some degree recognize it's probably only a matter of time until the tragedies that we've seen in France also arrive in Germany. Germany, I think, is very, and Germans, realistic about the fact that these sorts of lone wolf attacks, like the one that we saw in Würzburg, the axe attack in the regional train, they're very hard to predict, they're very hard to prevent. And if anything, I think people are sad, but not terribly surprised to see what we've seen so often, sadly, in France, arriving in Germany. Although it must be said, not on anywhere near the same scale as we've seen in France this past 18 months.